Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Scott Show. This is a show all about homelessness and poverty. We are at World Homeless Day in the this is World Homeless Day 2017, folks. And it's kind of hard for me because I'm looking at all the people that are posting and looking at all the people that are not posting. The fact that this is a super important day, it's very huge in Britain. Right now, a lot of our British friends are posting just a lot of stuff. And so I'm going to give an incredible amount of shout-outs. I'm going to talk about who right now is nominated at 102550. Hopefully we can get some more nominations off of this. We can get some more followers on our speaker.com, which I'm going to be promoting while we're actually on this right here. And it's called the World Homeless Day Mega Podcast. So that's what we're doing. We're actually posting to them, to people right now as we are going along. The first shout out I want to give is to our friends in South Carolina at St. Lawrence Place. It's really an awesome place. They actually have an event coming up on the 14th. It's called Beethoven and Blue Jeans. So check them out. I really love this place. St. Lawrence Place is great. And, of course, they are nominated for 102550. And all the different things that we get to do is 102550. We get to work with different organizations. St. Lawrence Place always seems to come up because they're just doing an amazing job. So we talk about 102550 a lot. We have 14 different committees. We have the Domestic Violence Committee, Mental Health, Fundraising, Healthcare, Housing, Hunger Solutions, the LGBT Committee, the Minority Committee, the Political Education Committee, Second Chance Committee, the Senior Citizen Committee, the Transportation Committee, the Veterans Issue Committee, and the Youth Committee. So I have to give a shout out to Kevin, who asked a question about veterans. How, where do they fall in line for where we should be supporting and who we should be supporting. And while I am in total agreement that we need to support our people that have fought for us in war, the fact that people are homeless that have fought for us in war, that have fought for our country, that would die for our country, but yet we won't be nice enough to make sure that they are housed, I think is an abomination of our country. And it's an absolute shame. So, big shout out to Kevin who posted that all the time. We thank you, Kevin, for the post. Also, another post or another shout out I want to give is for somebody running for office. And first of all, I have to say, folks, this is not an endorsement, but it is just a shout out to somebody who, like I said, is running for office. And her name is Deidre. I won't go into last name, but she's running in Arizona. And she posted about the Phoenix Rescue Mission and our good friends in Phoenix that they need, and the females there are in need of tampons. So if you are in a giving mood today and you're in Phoenix or you want to give to the Phoenix Rescue Mission, by all means, please do so. That's what they need. And I think that it's really super important we help take care of everybody. And when they say that what their needs are, it's simple. And we should help them. So, there you go. And also big shout out to Jane, who is doing a whole bunch of work on the Facebook page, Homes for Homeless. Big shout out to Kim, who's just wonderful. Great lady at one of the local shelters around here. I want to make sure I gave her a shout out. And a shout out to Ed, who also is posting quite a bit of stuff all about what we're doing here at the 102550 Homeless Project and Veterans. So I just think it's really important. So, folks, we're going to get back to the Twitter comments here in a little bit. Like I said, a lot of people are in Britain right now. They are reminded of what's going on with the homeless folks. out there. I do want to shout out to Ryan Davis, Ryan Davis eBooks. Big shout out to him. Our good friends in Boston, Family Aid Boston. We're gonna talk to them here shortly, and give them a big like. Tanya Jones, big shout out to her as well. Mercy Law, big shout out to Mercy Law, and they have a little thing that is written here, and I'm going to read it. This is from President Michael Higgins, probably from the law firm there. And it's, being homeless is not just about being deprived of a roof over your head. It is about being deprived of a sense of belonging, a place within a community, full participation with a voice in society. There can be no doubt that a life defined by those three bleak words, no fixed address, is a life deprived of the most basic entitlements that most citizens take so much for granted. Whether that homeless takes the form of being forced to sleep on the streets, or in parkways, or in public parks, or being placed with emergency accommodation with all the uncertainty that entails, or having to care for a family in just one room with no access to cooking utilities or outdoor space. Homelessness removes so many of the acts of discretion that define freedom. And that was a beautiful poem. I'm gonna make sure we'll like that and we'll share that. We'll retweet it out there. So there you go. Vicky Hines, Vicky Hines 71 on Twitter, posted a little bit about World Homeless Day and had some stuff on here. It looks had some people write some stuff on here. It says children need to be a priority. Private, rented, expensive, disrepair, health, safety issues, the uncertainty of where to go, bills to maintain homes affect housing, benefit caps, experienced staff, cannot accommodate the amount of people looking for housing in this country, new housing have higher cost, wanting more than needed, uprooting children, too many barriers to help. I mean, these are all issues that have to do with ending homelessness, folks, and people write these things, not enough affordable homes. And I remember the guy, and if anybody wants to let me know who this guy is, because I just remember the guy, I don't remember anything else. And he said, the rent is too damn high. So that, to me, speaks volumes, and I want to give Vicky a big shout out for posting that on World Homeless Day, and just see what's going on in this country and in this world. A lot of what we have going on right now with World Homeless Day, and the people who are posting about it, liking it, are all from Britain, and I love Britain. They're wonderful people, and I'm working on ending homelessness in the United States, and even though I love England and all that they do over there, they do some amazing stuff. Their Red Nose Day, they're caring for children in Africa. You know, they have some wonderful people over there. We have some wonderful people over here too, but I just want to give, all the great people of England a shout out that, their charity is just huge. Big shout out to George Paz. George is against any animal cruelty, and he also is against human. He's also against human torture, and part of that is the fact that people are homeless. And he has a picture on here that says "Seeking Human Kindness." So, big shout out to George there. I want to make sure that we give him a big shout out. So there you go. All right, and folks, we are doing this today. About big shout out today to Big Issue Foundation. Got to give them a big shout out too. It is also World Mental Health Day, and homelessness and World Mental Health Day kind of go hand in hand. So we want to make sure that we give everybody a shout out who's doing great things. Now, we have nominations here for the 102550 Homeless Project. We have groups that are working all across the country in all of our 50 states, in Puerto Rico, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, all across this great land of ours that work on ending homelessness. And we're going to go through a few of them right now. We're going to go to the great state of we are going to go to the great state of Alabama. And we're going to start right from the top here and give you guys the nominations in Alabama. We have Huntsville, Alabama, the Roses, Sharon Soup Kitchen, Dothan, Alabama, and their rescue mission there. Birmingham and the Firehouse Shelter. Big shout out to everybody there. I hear from them quite a bit, and they're very much on my mind a lot. The Jimmy Hale mission in Birmingham, Alabama. There's quite a few in Birmingham. Also, 3 Hots and a Cot. I have a T-shirt from there. That's cotsforvets.org. Check them out. First Light in Birmingham, Alabama. firstlightshelter.org. And the Friendship Mission in Montgomery, Alabama. Check all these places out. Those are the ones we have in Alabama. Now moving to Alaska. We have the Anchorage Covenant House. Check them wonderful folks out there. And in Anchorage, we also have a Beans Cafe. Beans Cafe in Anchorage, Alaska. We have the Fairbanks Rescue Mission and the Kentai. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, I super apologize. But the Friendship Mission there in Alaska, check them out. And all the links are on the 102550 website. Check it out. It is at 102550.net/nominations. You can also check out any of our podcasts here. All the money that we raise from doing all the podcasts go to end homelessness and poverty. You can check out, we have comedy shows like the Kyle and Scott Show, which we are goofy people. But we have fun being goofy, and we talk a lot, and we go on for hours and hours and just do our thing, but we have fun doing it. And so I urge you guys to check out the Scott and Kyle Show. It is all over Spreaker.com and our YouTube channel, which is tinyurl.com/102550. You guys can check that out too. We're going to go to Arizona, and the places that are nominated in Arizona, we have Phoenix and the Central Arizona Shelter Services, the CAS. All right, and then we have Tucson and the Sister Jose Women's Shelter. And then we have one also in Tucson, the Casa Ninos. So check those folks out too. They're wonderful. And Bisbee Coalition for the Homeless, bisbeeshelter.org. So those folks are great too. Now we're going to go back to Twitter here for a second. We're going to go tweet to Mr. George Paz. Let him know that we thought about him today. And there you go. So, alright. So we are live here on the Scott Show podcast. That's what we do sometimes. We always go live. We are always here doing the Scott Show wake-up call, which is just a show. We go probably right around 15 minutes, and we talk about all the different things going on in the world. We have a lot of fun with this stuff. And you know what, folks? If you guys want to be involved in any way, you guys want to get a shout-out, please, by all means, let me know. Go to Spreaker.com/The Scott Show. We are always there. We make things happen on Twitter. We're all over Twitter at 102550, and also check us out on YouTube. I've given that out once, but I'll do it again. We are at tinyurl.com/102550. That's where you can find us, the Scott Show podcast. We do it up every day, so check it out there. And we have 10 channels, but all 10 channels and everything that we do goes to end homelessness and poverty. That's what we do. And we're looking forward. I'm going to be doing 5Ks, running all across this great country of ours. I will be in Syracuse, New York in January, Atlanta, Georgia in February. I will be in San Diego, California in March. I do not have an April vacation time set up yet, but I will be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and also I will be in Duluth, Minnesota, my hometown, running the Fitchurch 5K race. And I just did the Harvest 5K race, and that went to the Damiano Center, which is near and dear to my heart, since it's a soup kitchen, and they're just wonderful people there, and we love the Damiano Center. So big shout out to the Damiano Center and all our great friends there. We have so much fun just doing what we're doing and getting involved that, what can you do? A big shout out to Davey Duke. Now, this person right here lives in Scotland. Now, I want to make that perfectly clear, because if I say the name Davey Duke, people are going to think that I'm talking about somebody else, somebody a little bit more famous and not that very much liked. So I do want to give a shout out to Davey, the ambassador for the the Homeless World Cup, and the advisory board of UNICEF, and speaker, equality, and awesomeness all day long. So we're going to give Mr. Duke a shout out and send him along the way and say, hey, we're podcasting today. We're doing this. We gave you a shout out. That's what we want to do. A big shout out to Andy Street, who today I will speak about a World Homeless Day event in Birmingham, England, about my ambition to bring housing first to the region. So big shout out to Andy Street. We'll let him know that also we posted and talked about him. He posted that 15 hours ago, so a little bit of time difference between there and here. The Royal British Legion, give them a shout out and say thank you for all that they do for the armed forces there. Folks, I am really super excited every time I get to do podcasts and talk about different things. This one right here makes me very happy because we get to do one talking about my job as the president of the 102550 Homeless Project, the awesome things I get to do. And getting back for just 1 second about the Royal British Legion, they have a poppy appeal, and I know they have one here for the VFW too. Anytime you can buy a Buddy Poppy from a veteran, please do. Support your local veterans, folks. I think that's important. So, there you go. Big shout out to Steve Topple. Steve Topple, really cool guy. So check him out on Twitter at Mr. Topple. Paul Singh, give Paul a big shout out as well. Like I said, we have a lot of our wonderful English fans here. English fans and friends and people who are just great. So we want to give all of them a shout out and just say hi to them. We do have some Americans also that we have here on the site talking about it. One of them in particular, and we will talk about them with the nominations, is the Sunday Breakfast Rescue Mission in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we love them. They do just great work there, so we're always excited when we get to do stuff and talk about the Sunday Breakfast Mission. So going on with other nominations, we are in Arkansas. We have Lonoke and the Open Arms Shelter. Fayetteville, one of my favorite shelters, definitely, probably one of my favorite in Arkansas right now. The Seven Hills Homeless Shelter, they're doing amazing stuff there. Just amazing stuff. Bless all of the volunteers there. Sarcee with Jacob's Place Homeless Mission. Blytheville with the Mississippi County Rescue Mission. Union Mission, sorry. And Little Rock with the Union Rescue Mission. They're in Little Rock, Arkansas. And then we're going to go to California, and then we'll go back to Twitter. We got Los Angeles and the Union Station Homeless Services. Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Mission. Awesome place. We have the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission. Awesome. The Bakersfield. I have some wonderful friends in Bakersfield. The homeless shelter there. Stockton, the shelter for the homeless. And San Francisco, St. Vincent de Paul Society. Now, I do have to add on to that, and I don't know why it's not on here now, the San Diego Interfaith Services, and we'll just make sure that we type that in. And that is, they're going to be doing the Bright Futures 5K, which I will be involved with coming up here. Coming up here very soon, and actually that's in March. I believe it's March 24th, if I'm correct. Now, going back to Twitter and all the different places, there's Mr. Topple again. We said hi to him. All right, Broadland Housing in England. I say, give a big shout out to Street Soccer Group. Now, I'm wondering if that is that's still in England, folks. Oh, big shout out to 100% Raw Oklahoma Honey at Bee Love Trading. They have a group out there. They 100% of the profits go towards helping those who are homeless, hungry, or undersourced. Big shout out to 100% Raw Oklahoma Honey, supporting World Homeless Day, and we support you too. I might actually order some and just give them a call and say, hey, I want some 100% raw Oklahoma honey. I need some honey bees from the Sooner State. Folks, most of the stuff I've purchased from has been from Alabama. I have 2 shirts, one from 3 Hots and a Cot, and one from the Homeless Veterans Initiative and our good friend Patrick out there. So we give him a big shout out too. Shout outs for everybody who works at ending homelessness. If I don't get to you today, folks, that's just what happens. But I do have to give a big shout out to 100% Raw Oklahoma Honey. We're gonna have to give them a shout out and maybe figure out what we can do for them. We're gonna follow the Street Soccer Group there, and that's in London, England. We're gonna let them know, hey, we posted about you guys. And that's awesome. Now, this will go on YouTube, so check it out. It's going to be a really, really long... this is the mega podcast, folks. So if you're here, you're probably here for a reason to work to end homelessness. Go to 102550.net. That's the word 10, numbers 25, the word 50.net. That's our website that you can go to. Check us out and make things happen. We want to end homelessness. We want to do this all together. Big group, end homelessness now. That's what we need to do, because it's super important that we end homelessness. Nobody, whether it be on the United States side, in England, in Africa, wherever we're talking, no one needs to be sleeping on the street. But first, I care about the United States of America. I do care about England, and if I ever get to travel there, we will have a blast helping out groups, working in the soup kitchens and whatever. Because we're going to do that here first. We got lots of plans going down the pike. Lots of great people that are going to be working with me. And I'm super excited. And so we're going to continue with the shout outs. And we got 24 more that we got to update, folks. This is crazy. Pain versus Guilt. It's a fashion line of clothing. I want to give them a big shout out. And we will hit them up and just let them know, hey, there you go. It says 13 kids die on the street every day. I would like to know where that's at. It's in Los Angeles, California. Pain against Guilt. So, there you go. Salvation Army in Toronto, Canada. We love the Salvation Army. I used to work for the Salvation Army. Little known fact about me is I used to work for the Salvation Army in Spring Valley, New York, and I loved that job. It was a lot of fun. And when I got to do that, it was just a lot of fun. Great people there. So I was always excited to go to work. Always fun, different things we got to do. I was there during bell ringing time. I rang more bells than I ever should, and I would like to give another big shout out to Mr. Topple, Steve Topple, who retweeted our reply and said that, hey, we're live making this podcast for World Homeless Day. Folks, I'm excited because we're just doing this for so much fun, and that's what we're doing. So there you go. And right now we are sending out tweets to everyone who we give shout outs to. So like I said, big shout out to the good people of the Salvation Army in Toronto. And and we are getting more and more likes and stuff. I do want to give a big shout out, since I have everybody here, and it's a big deal. I do want to give a big shout out to my family, who supports me very much in what I do. I love every single one of them. And Jim and Steve, I want to give you guys a shout out. And Steve and Angela, same Steve, by the way. I'm so lucky that I get to share my last name with them. It is their wedding anniversary, so happy wedding anniversary to those folks. Just great people all around. Anthony Flynn, big shout out to Anthony Flynn, who's standing in solidarity in Dublin, Ireland, where they're lighting candles and making things happen for World Homeless Day. So big shout out to them. It's right around 4 o'clock my time. We're probably going to be going for quite a long, much longer than this. I'm just going to keep giving shout outs to people and have fun, because why not? Why wouldn't I do that? I'm enjoying myself so far. And if you guys are enjoying this, check out 102550.net. You guys can always go over there, check out all our great stuff. We're going to be on YouTube. All of this will be on YouTube, and you guys can get all your shout outs there too. So, folks, it's going to be really awesome. 102550.net. There you go. That's the most important thing, is we want to make sure that we get our word out. That we're working to end homelessness and poverty nationwide and all over the world. We want to do that. The United States can be the linchpin of the big grenade that blows up and builds housing and makes sure people are fed and all this other stuff. We need to do that for everybody. We need to do that for the world, because it's just what we need to do as Americans. I mean, we have veterans that are sleeping outside. We have older people that are sleeping outside, and they don't need to. The reason they do it is because we don't have services for them to get by. And it's shameful that we live in the richest country of the world, and we cannot work together to end homelessness. It depresses me so very much. It does. So, folks, we're going to get back to the nominations here right now. We got Colorado. We are in the wonderful state of Colorado. I will be there in May or June for the Colorado Rockies 5K to end homelessness, which will be super exciting. Boulder, Colorado, and the Shelter for the Homeless. Check them out, bouldershelter.org. We have Denver and the St. Francis Center. We have Aspen and the Aspen Homeless Shelter. And Colorado Springs Rescue Mission. We also have Fort Collins, Colorado, and the Fort Collins Rescue Mission. We have Cortez and the Bridge Emergency Shelter. Delta and the Birmingham Connection Homeless Shelter. And we also have one in Alamosa. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And I'm not going to try to say the name, but it is L-A and then P-U-E-N-T-E, and that's at .net. It's all on the website. Check it out, 102550.net/nominations. That gets you guys all the nominations that we do here on the Scott Show podcast. We do it up. We make sure that we are nominating groups that are working very hard to end homelessness all across this country. And we cannot be more than super excited about what we get to do here on the Scott Show podcast. So, what we're going to do here now, folks, is we're going to go back to Twitter. However, you got to know the computer sometimes screws up. And so we got to take a few seconds and do some stuff here. So I will talk to you guys quickly about some of the other things going on with 102550. We are working on the holiday angel boxes. What that is we are working on giving people a great Christmas. We want to make sure that everyone has a good Christmas. In order to do that, we are going to send 10 boxes across the country. And they are going to have in them different things, socks, simple things, if we can do whatever we can do for people. We're going to have socks and coloring books, just different things that we can give to people. We need your guys' help, though, to make this bigger. We have a few things we're throwing in the boxes, but I don't want to give them a few things. I want to make people happy. So, folks, please help us out. Go to 102550.net. Check us out. There you go. All right, Hull Homeless, we're going to give you guys a big shout-out. We would like to thank you guys for posting that it is World Homeless Day and World Mental Health Day. That's super important. Check them out. hullhomeless.co.uk. And also, might as well give a big shout-out while we're there to Costa Coffee. And they help them out there at Hull Homeless, so we're going to give them a big shout-out too. Because why wouldn't we? I love coffee, so I'm gonna make sure I give them a big shout out. A big shout out to Lewis Outing in York, as they've been posting about that. Folks, sometimes you get really great names on Twitter, and we're gonna give this one a shout out right now. Big shout out to Car Booty Music. Car Booty Music. I wanted to say it twice. For posting 50 minutes ago that it is World Mental Health Day and World Homeless Day 2017. Ting. I want to give a shout out to Ting and Lena. Big shout out to Lena. We're going to follow Lena. We already do on both my personal Twitter and now the 102551. So big shout out to Lena. Also a big shout out to the Hearth Connection Pittsburgh. Big shout out to them, and I want to thank them for all that they do. Nobody chooses to be homeless. Nobody. Folks, we have a lot of people who have issues right now, and they need your help, and we need to do something, because if we don't, then nothing's gonna get done. So there you go, Hearth Pittsburgh. We're gonna give you guys a big shout out. A big shout out to USA Jobs Vet, Silicon Valley Vet. Big shout out to you. Already paying attention to the show. I like that. There you go. The City of Las Vegas. So right now we have the City of Vegas, who has said this: mental health is only one factor that contributes to the cycle of homelessness. And this is the City of Vegas.tumblr.com. We're gonna give them a shout out there too, and we'll post something to the City of Vegas. Why not? We love Vegas. Vegas strong. Big thumbs up for everybody there. As we're posting and saying, hey folks, we are live with the podcast about homelessness. We're gonna give you guys a shout out. So check us out there. That's what we're doing. Folks, it is a shame that we have kids that are homeless. It's a shame that we have women and the elderly that are homeless. And I know people are going to say, hey, what about people who are just down on their luck for a minute or whatever? We care about everybody. We want to make sure everybody's taken care of. But the fact we have women out there, and we have children out there that get asked and thrown into situations in which they are not safe situations, they are not good situations, they are in many ways terrible situations. We have people that get thrown into that, and women and children are in so much trouble when they're homeless. I believe I had heard that a youth, if put on the street, gets asked for some sort of terrible situation at least 5 to 7 times a night. And this could be anywhere from asking for drug mule, sexual things, taking drugs, whatever, being in a gang, and women are just as bad off when they are on the streets, because survival mode. And folks, I'm gonna say it, and don't be too upset with me, but this is a conversation about homelessness, so we're not gonna sugarcoat things. If you are a woman and you're homeless, and survival mode is a bitch. And I hope that people aren't too upset with me for using that term, but it is. And, it's one of those shames in life. And if you ever get a chance to see these posts about, what we do with people, and the fact that we spend so much money on stupid crap, like Mike Pence going to a football game, but yet we can't spend money on homelessness. It's demeaning. And the president even said himself, now this is Donald Trump's words, and I'm going to find this because somebody else asked me about this before too. He said, no one should sleep on the street. This was when he was a candidate. Now, is that going to be the same thing that happens later down the road? Probably not. But we'll just try. We'll just hope to God anyway that something happens. So, folks, we are still making it happen here on the Scott Show podcast. We are talking about World Homeless Day. This is the 102550 show. Please like, share, subscribe to this show. Download this show as many times as you can. We do a show about 102550 Homeless Project every Wednesday and Sunday. If you guys want a shout out, by all means, we will give you guys a shout out and send our love to you guys that way that we can. Just like I'm doing right now, I'm sending out different things to people who are posting about World Homeless Day. Horizons for Youth is one of them that we'll give a big shout out to. They're in Toronto, Canada. A big shout out to them. Their tweet says, today is World Homeless Day 2017, a day to encourage everyone to learn more about homelessness and act to support homeless individuals. Big shout out to them. We're going to make sure that they know that we are live here on the Scott Show and that we talked about them and we gave them a huge shout out. And it says today is World Homelessness Day. Learn, raise awareness, and act. And actually, we're going to retweet them too. Why not? We'll like that and retweet that. Folks, I'm going to have to do a little bit more liking and retweeting. I'm going to have to do a lot of stuff. Big shout out to Homes for the Homeless, who posted some really cool things. An op-ed about safe winter. Folks, let's hope it's a safe winter for some of our folks. I live up here in Minnesota, and I don't know how much of a safe winter it's going to be. I'm a little scared for some of our folks that are sleeping outside. Now, I do have to say this, that there is someone who, right next to my gym, actually has a tent. And they used to have some sort of wood setup. Now they have a tent that's all hooked up and ready to rock and roll. And it's one of those things that you just want to cry. At the same time, you want to thank God that they're safe. So, there you go. We want to make sure that we give a big shout out to everyone who works to end homelessness and poverty. So, there you go. Alright, so we are going back to nominations. And we are in Connecticut, Stamford, and the Pacific House, New Haven, and the Columbus House, and Hartford, and the South Park Inn. We go to Delaware and Wilmington, Delaware with the Sunday Breakfast Mission. Georgetown with the Sussex Community Crisis Housing. Dover, Delaware with the Dover Interfaith Mission for the housing. And Wilmington, Delaware, and that is the Ministry of Caring. And we just love them. And Wilmington, Delaware, they are great. Let's go to Florida. We got the Fort Lauderdale Broward County Partnership. it's a long podcast, folks. We have Panama City, the Panama City Rescue Mission. Big shout out to them. Tampa and the homeless helping homeless. Naples, Florida, and the St. Matthew's House. Pensacola and the Waterfront Mission, and Gainesville, Florida, and the St. Francis House. We will also go to Georgia, as we have the Open Door community in Georgia. We also have the Riverdale, the Dorm. We have Mapleton and Project You First. We have Athens, the Athens Area Homeless Shelter. Columbus, Georgia, and the Valley Rescue Mission. Winder, Georgia, and the Northeast Georgia Homeless Veteran Shelter. In Columbus, Georgia, and the Hope Harbor Outreach. So those are just a few more places that are nominated. We are also working with a lot of other ones in Atlanta, which we are going to be running in February. And I'm going to be just jumping around like Joy when we get there. Abby, folks, this is a long podcast. Abby, Social Justice, had posted that they raised over £200 of British money to date for both local and national homeless charities. So we want to give them a big shout out, which we will here in a second post and say thank you. We are talking about you, and turn around because we're not talking about you behind your back. We're talking about you in your, yeah, there you go. So, Home for the Homeless, we're going to make sure we give them a big shout out. Say, hey, we're live with the podcast right now, making it happen, doing the things on the Scott Show podcast. And we will also send this out to Abby Social Justice. Now, on the Abby Social Justice site, they have kids, it looks like 10 different youth. And right behind there is a beautiful mural. And the Abby Social Justice Group, the team of students, along with their teachers who are trying to raise awareness and tackle social injustices. So big shout out to them. And we also will give that big shout out to Horizons for Youth as well. And they are looking to raise $7,500 here in 15 seconds. So it would provide 77 kids with shelter, food, and preventive supportive programming for 1 day. 77 for 1 day. That's incredible. Michelle Howard, well-being and health manager. We'll give her a shout out. Let her know that we love what she does. Laura at Solutions Talk. Laura Kirk 70. A big shout out over to you as well. Michael House. Big shout out to Mr. Michael House. And we're going to give... Oh, I wanted to apologize. Michael House is actually a non-profit in England. So big shout out to everyone that works at the Michael House. Folks, as you probably know by now, this is live. This is not edited in any way, shape, or form. Not even when we throw it over to YouTube. So anything I say can be used against me in a court of law. I understand that. But we're going to give a big shout out to Blair. And we will make sure that we post that. And Sutherland Corporation, pleased to be participating in their strategic discussion to end youth homelessness with the city of Markingham. And it's also 360 Kids, York. And so we give all of them a shout out, the wonderful people of York and the city of Markingham in Canada. Alright, I want to give Meat Liquor a big shout out. And so Meat Liquor N1, restaurant, bar, eat or takeaway. Click here for delivery, outdoor seating, bookings taking online, Instra Meatgram. Okay, well, we love them anyway because they're great. The Psychologist, we thank you for your post right there. Awesome stuff. We already talked about Vicky Hines. A big shout out to you again. Emmanuel House has a ball coming up at Nottingham City Council. I can't get over to England, but, hey, it's all good. Glassdoor. It is a place in London that it provides shelter, support, and hope for some of West London's most vulnerable homeless men and women. Big shout out to them. Now, if you notice, I'm sending a lot of stuff out to England. It's not on purpose. It's who's posting about what's going on. So, if you guys, if the United States posted more stuff, I would totally be all over it, saying here's what's going on. Project Malachi, big shout out to you guys there. Tanya Jones, and I want to give a big shout out to Tanya, who is a criminologist and a part of the Rough Sleeper intervention team. Now, if you guys don't know what a rough sleeper is, it is someone who is homeless in England, and we will want to give them a big shout out for all the work that Tanya and her group does there. Big shout out to Rebecca Day. Rebecca Day, she works in community ed and mental health. A big shout out over there. So that, you know, a lot of people do a lot of great things in this world, and we thank them, and we want to make as many friends as possible. Because even if you're not from the United States, if you're from England and listening to the show, first of all, thank you for paying attention and listening to what we got going on here on the Scott Show podcast. It is World Homeless Day. We are a part of the puzzle. We are a part of the solution. We're gonna make ourselves part of the solution, and we are doing that all together. We want to know what you guys are doing over in England. If you're listening to this and you're in America and you want to say your piece and say what we should do, by all means. But we don't have to reinvent the wheel in some of these things. I would love the fact that to reinvent the wheel and to talk about what we're doing to end homelessness over here and what they're doing over there. And like I said, Glassdoor London. I mean, come on, they're doing a big sleep out. We're doing one over here in Superior. And that will be fun. And that will be a good time. And I like doing that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's if they do something over there that works and we try it over here, at least we tried it, right, folks? That's how we do it. And if we don't try it, we fail. Because that's just what it is. I do want to give a big shout out since we're here on the podcast, making it happen, doing our thing. I want to give a big shout out to the Doe Fund. It is in New York City. Over 2,000 men are paroled each year with nowhere to go. Hashtag reentry. We're going to be working, I'm going to post something to the Doe Fund so they can get involved with our second chance committee, because I think that's super important. So big shout out to the Doe Fund and New York City. Big shout out to New York City. And they got some wonderful, they have a picture of some guys on there, and it's a great picture. You guys need to check out this picture of they just look awesome. So it's helping to clean up New York and all that other great stuff. We're going to give them a big shout out. So we like the Doe Fund. All right, folks, so we're going to go right back to our nominations here. We are in the great state of Hawaii. We have the Next Step Shelter in Honolulu. We have Hope Services in Hilo. And we have the Homeless Resource Centers in Walalu. And I don't know if I said that correctly, but if I didn't, that's okay. I do apologize if anybody gets mad at me about that. We go to Idaho, and we got 3 of them there. The Boise Rescue Mission in Boise. The Pacalo Aid for Friends. We got lots of fun people in that city, including we have Bill's Beans and Mainstream Coffee. So big shout out to all of those folks. We love our Mainstream Coffee. Mainstream Coffee. And in Moscow, Idaho, and the Sojourners Alliance. Big shout out to them. And we'll go one more in the great state of Illinois. We have Wheaton and the Midwest Shelter for Homeless Veterans, Bloomington Home Sweet Home Ministries, Joliet, and we have the Guardian Angel Community Services, and Rockford Rescue Mission. So big shout out to all of those folks there. As we will be going through the rest of our list, we will be here for probably another hour, folks. We got MegaCast, and we're going to be talking about Homeless Day for the next hour and 10 more minutes. I think we'll go. If we want to go longer, we will, because guess what? It's my podcast, and I can go 3 hours long if I want to go 3 hours long. So there. All right. And folks, we need to talk about ending homelessness. That's what we need to do here. We got the Jim Fong Group. It's the #1 team in Las Vegas, Nevada, helping homeowners and first-time home buyers with their real estate needs. We're going to give them a big shout-out. We're going to send them a thank you for posting something about today and World Homeless Day. Also, like I said, the city of Vegas, they sent out a thing to the Golden Knights, their new NHL team in Vegas, and it's World Mental Health Day. It's hashtag Tuesday Thoughts, all that great stuff. City of Vegas doing it up for us. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Jan. It's about the right to housing. It's about the rights to dignity. May I just say, damn right, Jan. All right, that dude, Carl, who I think is awesome. And I want to read this because this is great. Switching off perfection, switch to human quality. Quest love, it says. Social work, politics, pugs. I love myself some pugs. Views are my own. RTs do not count endorsements. And that means a lot of stuff for us too. I could support you guys by saying your name and tell them what you do, but we'll let people decide on their own whether they like you or not. Carl is from Chicago, Illinois, in the big city there, Chicago, Illinois. Big shout out to Carl. And we're going to make sure that we send him a little link and say, hey, we talked about you, man. We brought you up, because some of the stuff he's posting is awesome. Stuff about looking for a job, and got some something from Chance the Rapper, who's a really cool guy, who actually helped out quite a bit in Chicago. So you gotta love people who give back. He did post a Monopoly Man, go figure. And he posted a little link that said how many people are experiencing homelessness on a given night in 2016. And the numbers are insane, folks. And I'll give you a few states in their numbers. We got Texas, 23,122. California comes in at the highest at 118,142. Minnesota, 7,341. I mean, folks, it is insane to think that all these people are sleeping on the streets. They are experiencing homelessness on one given night. New York, 86,352. Washington, 20,000. Dear Lord, come on, people. We're going to post this on the 102550 site. Make it happen. And I want to thank Carl for bringing that up, bringing that to our attention, and making it happen here on the Scott Show podcast, the 102550 show, as we do it up here every day. Every day we have a different podcast, so we're trying to get as many people out there to enjoy our podcast as much as possible. If we have listeners to the podcast, then we are making money, and we are working in homelessness and poverty. We get more sponsors that way. Hopefully we get some sponsors soon. More sponsors. We have t-shirts coming. We have flags for sale now. We have flags for sale. The Me and Kyle Comedy Hour. We look at the calendar, not the calendar. We look at the map all the time. So we said, hey, you guys like our show. You want to help end homelessness and give a little bit to the Kyle Needs to Go to College Fund. You send us $10. We're going to have the link up here soon. It's going to be $10. and you guys get a flag, and me and Kyle will autograph it. And we're gonna find out how much the flags are first, and we might even might go up a little bit. And but hell, we're gonna autograph it for you, so why not, right? There you go. A big shout out to Lauren Gilbertson at LC Gilbertson on Twitter. Big shout out to her. She has a toll-free number on there, so people can get help to end homelessness there. And we're gonna give her a shout out and just say hi and all that other great stuff. I do want to give a shout out to Melissa. I'm going to give a shout out to Sue and Jamie. I do want to wish happy birthday to Shannon. And I do want to give a shout out to one of my favorite people. I used to be on the Minnesota Coalition for the Homeless board. I want to give a shout out to Heidi, who used to be on the board as well. So awesome. Awesome people in this world, folks, that give a crap. And you can be too, some people, they don't think that they have enough to give a crap. And it's super important that, you care and you can do something. It might not be like the biggest thing in the world, but if you team up with other people, and that's why I'm saying, hey, join the 102550 Homeless Project and let's make things happen together. Because that's what we do. A big shout out to Matt Jones. He's an ex-property developer in the Midlands in England. And like I said, lots of English folks here today because they're posting all over the place about the World Homeless Day, and we just love it. We love it because these people are going to be our friends and followers on Twitter. So I just think it's fun. Trent and Dove Housing in South Derbyshire, England. Big shout out to you guys. Mr. Peyton, big shout out to you as well. We like Mr. Peyton. Mr. P. St. Beds. Alright, big shout out to you, my friend. Alright, reach out to the community. Big shout out to you as well. Talking about the rough sleepers. Care to Limbo. Big shout out to you guys there. We are working hard here, folks, to end homelessness. We do podcasts every day. As you can tell, it's just me today. I do apologize for that for some people who wanted to hear just other people. Just me today. So that's what we do, though, folks. We are just here making it out a difference. Reach out to the community. Big shout out to you guys. Rocking it in England, and got a lot of the same people are posting the same things too. So we're gonna make sure we try not to give you guys a shout out if we already did. But if you get two of them, don't be mad at me. It's the Twitter. As I said, folks, we are live here on the Scott Show podcast. We're sending out little things that say, hey, we're live. We are making a podcast. We're doing it up. And so join us. Listen to the show. We talk about you guys. That's what we do. And we even got people popping in on Facebook. Awesome. We love that too. So I want to say hi to Jessica, who just said hi to me. Jessica is one of our listeners here on the Scott Show podcast. Awesome person. We thank everybody who listens. We are just blessed with a whole bunch of great listeners on the Scott Show podcast. Making it happen, folks, that's what we do. So we are going about it in a great way, working to end homelessness. If you want to email us, like I said, like, share, subscribe on YouTube. We have all our videos, 200 plus videos on YouTube. If you want to like, share, subscribe, please do. That gives us more points, more cred. It's all about street cred here, folks. We're talking about getting people off the street by building up our street cred. And the more likes, the more shares, the more subscribes, the more people will look at what we're doing. That's why the Scott Show, the Scott and Kyle Show, Comedy Hour, kind of an hour, is so big right now because people are liking what we're doing. And I appreciate that so very much. All right, let's move to Indiana. All these great places in Indiana. We have Indianapolis and the Good News Ministries. We have El Perazo and the Gabriel Horn Homeless Shelter. Muncie, Indiana, and the Ministries. Michigan City, Indiana, and the Sandcastle Shelter for Homeless Families. Big shout out to Michigan City. Evansville, Indiana, and the family shelter there. We have Bedford and Becky's Place. We have Indianapolis, Horizon House. We have Fort Wayne and the Rescue Mission. Noblesville and the Third Phase Christian Center. And Warsaw at the Fellowship Missions at fellowshipmissions.net. And we go to Iowa. We have Des Moines, Iowa, and the Central Iowa Shelter and Services. Ames and the Emergency Residence Project. We have the Shelter House in Iowa City, Iowa, and the John Lewis Coffee Shop in Davenport, Iowa. We thank you guys very much for talking with us and having a great time. Topeka, Kansas, and the Rescue Mission there. We have Lawrence, Kansas, and the Community Shelter. Liberal, Kansas. I wonder if there's a conservative Kansas, but I don't know if there is or not. Stepping Stone Shelter, liberalsteppingstone.org. Manhattan, Kansas. It is the home of the University of Kansas or Kansas State. I can't remember. And that's the emergency shelter there in Manhattan. And Interfaith Wichita. And Wichita is a place where our former police chief is at right now. That's interfaithwichita.org. Check that out. And we'll just go to Kentucky here. Lexington and the New Life Day Shelter. Louisville and the Wayside Rescue Mission. And Louisville's mission, it's the Coalition for the Homeless, louhomeless.org. Big shout out to Hillary, who's there, who's doing a lot of great work in Louisville. We'll move on even one more. Go to Louisiana and the Shreveport Boise Rescue Mission, which we'll be running with them in September of this upcoming year. We also have in Shreveport Hope Connections, Alexandria, the Hope House Inn in New Orleans. We have Lindy's Place. Big shout out to Lindy's Place in New Orleans, Louisiana, making it happen, folks. As we do. Alright, folks, we are having a little issue with the Twitter right there, but we'll get back to that here shortly. We're going to go to Care to Limbo. Give them a big shout out. They are in the UK, as many of the groups that we're giving a shout out today are. And if you're in the UK and you're listening to the show, and I again want to thank you all for listening to the show. If you're in the UK listening to our show here, first of all, thank you. Second of all, it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to end homelessness. If you guys keep listening to my podcast, we'll give you guys as many shout-outs as possible. We'll talk about your soccer teams. We'll do anything that we need to get the more listeners and like, share, subscribes. We want to work to end homelessness in the United States. But if you guys want to get some notoriety here in the United States, you want to push yourselves to the limit, please do. Send us a like, share, subscribe, comment, say something, and we'll make it happen. So, folks, that's caretolimbo.com, caretolimbo.com. Making it happen there in England. I do want to give a shout out to someone who I know really does care a lot about homelessness and ending it and making sure people are taken care of. And that is my U.S. Representative Rick Nolan. Big shout out to Rick, who is a great guy, cares very much in homelessness. I also want to give a big shout out to one of his workers, and his name is Jeff Anderson. He actually ran for the seat for Nolan, and he's just a wonderful man. So big shout out to Jeff Anderson, working for the Congressman Rick Nolan here in Duluth, Minnesota. And folks, I'm in Duluth, Minnesota. No lie here. I'm not gonna do anything like that. I am from Superior, Wisconsin, so we are going to be over. There will be a sleep out in Wisconsin. I have not made plans to go over there yet to it, but I hopefully can. So that would be really cool. We have 2 new notifications on Twitter. I'm going to go to that right now and find out what's going on and what people are saying about our day-to-day, because we're having a lot of fun. Coastline Housing, I give you guys a big shout out there. Coastline Housing. Awesome people there. Everybody who makes posts and says, "Hey, we need to end homelessness." That's all it takes. Because then people actually get it. And if everybody posted that, then everybody would care. Everybody would say, "Wow, you have all these posts about people wanting to end homelessness. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they want to end homelessness." That would be crazy, wouldn't it? But we just want to give a big special shout out to a lot of people who are working together. Paige, big shout out to you, and Nicole, big shout out to you as well. Awesome people who I get the chance to work with and work to end homelessness with. And so it's awesome. We just have amazing people all around this country. Diana, big shout out to Diana. And in Arizona, Carla, big shout out to you. A big shout out to Charlie Cat. Yeah, we just love this stuff. And there are some stuff on the Scott Show podcast that I'll be talking about with different things that happen. Lewis liked my reply and retweeted it, so big shout out to Lewis, and I thank Lewis for checking out the Scott Show podcast. Hope that everybody's listening. I would love that. So there you go. This is the MegaCast, and we're doing this up big time. We are making it happen, talking about World Homeless Day. I wanted to do one that would be good like this and say, hey, we're going to do it, talk about what we're doing here, ending homelessness. And why not? Give a big shout out to everybody on Twitter who's saying, hey, let's end homelessness now, right? So there you go. That's what we're doing, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. So we want to give a big shout out to Breakfast in a Bag. It's a group who serves out breakfast in England. Free breakfast, voluntary ran organization. And 3 pounds will sponsor a friend there. Big shout out to Neil Carson. Over 3,100 lanterns are lit in Dublin, one for each child in emergency accommodation tonight. So we're going to like that, and we're going to retweet that. Because, folks, no matter where we're at, it is World Homeless Day. We want to make sure we take care of our peeps. My Name Is campaign, big shout out to you as well. Yeah, this is great, folks. We are making it happen. Chris Brill, big shout out to Chris Brill, who posted on the World Homeless Day thing as well. So that's awesome. We are having a really great time just talking about homelessness with people, and posting on Twitter and saying, hey, we're live, check us out. Because how cool is it that we can do that, folks? It's just really, really cool. So, folks, we're going to go back to our nominations here, as we are going to the wonderful state of Maine, Waterville, and the Mid-Maine Homeless Shelter, shelterme.org, Augusta, Maine, and the Bread of Life Ministries, Alfred, and the York County Shelter Programs, YorkCountyShelterPrograms.com. Then we are in Maryland, the Rockville, the Stepping Stones Shelter in Rockville, Maryland, Baltimore Outreach Services, Elkton and the Meeting Ground, and then Baltimore at the Baltimore Station. So big shout out to you guys as well. In Massachusetts, we are Roxbury and the Sojourner House, Somersville and Somerville Homeless Coalition, Cambridge and the Harvard Square Homeless Shelter, Boston Horizons for Homeless Children, Springfield and the Springfield Rescue Mission, and Fitchburg and Our Father's House. So big shout out to you guys as well. That is super awesome that we have great people doing that. Pontiac and the Grace Centers of Hope.org, Big Rapids and Our Brothers Keepers Shelter, Ypsilanti and the SOS SOS Community Services, and Ann Arbor, the Ozone House. Big shout out to the Ozone House. And we have 3 of them here in Minnesota. We have Minneapolis and the St. Stephen's Human Services, Duluth and the Damiano Center, which I spoke about earlier, and Minneapolis and the Youth Link Minnesota. We love those folks too. So then we go to Mississippi and Sisters Strengthening Sisters Homeless Shelter in Gulfport. We have Jackson and the Stew Pot Community Services, Moss Point and the Uraw House Ministries, hopefully I didn't say that wrong, Jackson and the Gateway Rescue Mission, and Camden and Our Daily Bread Feeding Ministry, Our Daily Bread, ms.org. So check them out. They are wonderfully awesome people. Folks, so here is what I am thinking right now. We have gone 1 hour and 10 minutes onto the show, and I'm actually going to leave this show right now. I did say it was going to be 2 hours, but we're actually going to be back around 6 o'clock, and we're going to go 1 more hour talking about World Homeless Day. We're going to give people chances to tweet and chances to talk about that. We'll keep our video on here. I'd like to thank you guys very, very much. We'll check you guys out real soon here on the Scott Show podcast. We'll be back at 6 o'clock p.m. And that's Central Standard Time.